Hello everybody, this is Stalker again, here for the first ever deck tech on my YouTube channel. I don't have a name yet for this video series, so don't hesitate to shoot your ideas in the comments. I've thought about deck picks, but my wife told me it wasn't funny, so if you have anything better, go for it. Today will be a deck tech covering a deck I've already played more than 300 games with, a deck I brought to 4 tournaments. Now, you're thinking with portals. Let's start by having a look at a sample deck list. In this deck list, the deck has 29 followers and 11 non-follower spells, even though most of the non-follower spells actually create other followers. The deck is based around the synergies between artifact creating cards, artifact searching cards, and Deus Ex Machina, allowing for cost reduction on the artifacts. The deck has a pretty widely accepted base of about 35 cards, which are the non-highlighted cards here. Usually, people play 1 to 2 Magna Legacy, 0 to 3 Saphira. If they don't play Saphira, they will likely play Iron Sword Fighter as another finisher. And regarding the artifact producers, the Mechwing Swordsman and Iron Staff Mechanic are sometimes replaced by Cat Cannoneers. What I call key cards are cards that allow the deck to be built around them. Artifact Portals is built around 2 cards, Deus Ex Machina and Acceleration, which we will see in a second. Deus Ex Machina allows the deck to completely circumvent any notion of card advantage. While other classes are restricted to drawing only 1 card a turn, Deus Ex Machina allows you to draw up to 6. Deus Ex Machina also giving you a mana advantage makes it really the centerpiece of the strategy. The second key card is Acceleration. Acceleration also gives you the same mana boost, but also gives rush to your artifacts. Giving rush to your analyzing and mystic artifacts helps you trade into the board, while the mana reduction, coupled with Deus Ex Machina, allows you to actually produce mana when you play a 1 mana artifact. Then let's move on to the role players, the cards that fill out the rest of the deck. Once you have Deus Ex Machina and Acceleration, you want a lot of artifact producing cards. As you can see, 17 cards in your deck put artifacts in your remaining deck. I also put Hamling in that page because he helps you generate more artifacts once you get going. Then, once you have produced all those artifacts, you have to search for them to make sure they're in your hand in a timely manner. This is where Icarus and Miriam help a lot, as they can play both sides of the court. Miriam is usually more played as an artifact tutor, but once you have played Deus Ex Machina, she helps a lot by putting a Radiant artifact in your deck, which helps you finish the game. Finally, you have the interaction and finishers. Magna Legacy helps you answer boards you cannot answer just by attacking, for example, clear a Prime Dragon Keeper that is wrecking your board. Substitution helps you get back on the board in the early turns, because before you have your artifact synergies going or your evolution points, you actually have quite a lot of trouble handling creatures. In particular, 2/3 for 3 mana would be quite problematic without substitution. And then you have the flex slot I talked about a bit earlier. Iron Sword Fighter being another finisher, and Spinaria being another way to generate interaction in the mid game. Then you have Saphira, which can close out the game by herself once you have sacrificed enough artifacts. Artifacts Portal has a very clear goal. The deck is about clearing the opponent's board every single turn of the game until you can close it with Saphira. As you can see, Artifacts Portal, despite playing a lot of followers, is actually a control deck. It's all about controlling the board, then getting to your finishers once you have complete control and your opponents cannot get a board presence anymore. This means that when you have the choice between trading followers or going for face damage, you should likely be trading followers. You will win the game if it goes long, thanks to Deus Ex Machina and Saphira or Radiant Artifacts. Drawing 6 cards a turn is something no other deck has access to. This strategy makes the deck really strong against any deck that tries to win by assembling an unsurmountable board presence. For example, Artifacts Portal shines against Swordcraft. It's also pretty decent against Ginger Rune, as it's the only deck in the format that can clear the Ginger boards, but Portalcraft is pretty weak against linear, really dedicated decks. This means that against hard aggro, you will have a hard time, against combo, you will have a hard time, and against a few specific cards that really stifle your game plan, like Wood of Brambles, you will have a bad time. In the end, Portalcraft has very polarized matchups. Either its opponent is trying to play on a fair axis, developing a board presence little by little and trying to capitalize on that board presence to win. In that case, they get absolutely destroyed by Portal, or they're trying to fight on another axis and Portal is really not well equipped to deal with that. Let's close it out with some gameplay advice. The first thing is that when you are on the play, you are able to play a turn 2 artifact producer, Icarus or Majesty Lion, then a Miriam on turn 3, getting one of the artifacts that was put in the deck. This is a very proactive draw that helps Portal be the beatdown in some matchups, and if your opponent has to answer what you're doing, you will likely be winning in the long run, because once you get to your Deus Ex, all the resources your opponent will have spent to not get behind in the early game will come to bite him. Please also note that Saphira can get evolved to become a 4/9 Storm follower. Some decks have a very hard time dealing with a turn 6 evolved Saphira. For example, if they rely only on direct damage to kill Saphira, and if you're ahead on board or manage to have your opponent down by being on the play, evolving a Saphira on turn 6 can be a real backbreaker. One of the decisions you'll be confronted to a lot as a Portalcraft player is whether or not to play Deus Ex Machina on turn 6. Personally, I really like playing it as soon as I can, because the mana advantage it provides you in the next turn is really valuable. But at the same time, you don't want to fall behind on the board too much, so your goal should be to create a board state where you can play a Deus Ex Machina, evolve it and trade for the last of your opponent's follower, then use the mana advantage you have on the turn 7 to destroy whatever your opponent comes up with. Finally, another very important skill of the deck is to count. You have to count every single type of artifact you put in your deck. You have to count the number of finishers you have left, which means the number of Saphiras, the number of Radiant Artifacts or ways to create Radiant Artifacts, and you have to count your Acceleration. You have only 3 copies of Acceleration and Saphira, and those are really paramount to establishing your game plan. Counting your artifact is important for when you tutor for artifact. It can inform your decisions, and it will help you be a better Portalcraft player. This deck needs a lot of mental awareness, and you will need to focus really hard when you play it, but the reward will be there. Before closing the video, let's talk a little bit about the mulligans. You should be mulliganing to get a curve and a Deus Ex Machina. The perfect hands would be Icarus, Miriam and Deus Ex Machina on the play, Icarus, Substitution and Deus Ex Machina on the draw. You want early plays, you want to not get behind on board, and you want to slam Deus Ex Machina on 6. Some people will advise you to mulligan Deus Ex Machina, but if you don't have Deus Ex Machina in your starting hand, you only have a 42% chance of drawing it before turn 6, which I find is a little bit too low. So that's it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching the first deck tech on Tolkiecast. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate if you have any advice on how to improve this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as you guys' support is really what keeps me going. And see you all tomorrow for Meta Monday number 2.